The 2026 MLB trade deadline is over, which means it's time for me to give my grades on every single team's trade deadline moves. Of course, a ton of work goes into this video, so if you guys do enjoy it, make sure you are subscribed to my channel so you don't miss out on any of the baseball content coming at you. And let me know in the comment section down below, who do you think had the best MLB trade deadline? But first, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. The trade deadline has come and gone, which means your favorite team has new players. So you're going to want to go to games and see them make their debut. That's why you go to SeatGeek to get your tickets, and you use my code GiraffeNeckMarc to get 10% off your first purchase of MLB tickets. There's also over 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek right now, so you could go to baseball games to see your new favorite players, or you can go to basketball games coming up. The NFL season's on its way. My personal favorite feature on SeatGeek, of course, is their SeatGeek score. That's where they take tickets and rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 to let you, the buyer, know if you're getting a good deal or not. So when looking for tickets and you see a score closer to 10 with a green dot on the map, that means it's a good deal. You should buy those tickets. When you see tickets with a score closer to 1 with a red or orange dot on the map, that means not a good deal. You don't need to buy those. Use my code GiraffeNeckMarc for 10% off your first purchase of MLB tickets on SeatGeek. So click the link in the description right now to download the SeatGeek app. And again, my code is GiraffeNeckMarc for 10% off your first purchase of MLB tickets on SeatGeek. Thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it. Let's get started off with the Boston Red Sox. The big moves were bringing in Adley Rutschman and Curtis Mead. They also brought in Eric Miller, Carlos Gutierrez, Jake Rogers, Eli White, Jahmai Jones, and Brett Harris. Adley is obviously the big piece of this deal. Curtis Mead was supposed to be a big piece of the deadline. He got hurt already. I'm not going to penalize them too much for that. Overall, I thought it was a strong deadline for the Red Sox. I'm going to give them a B+. The catcher position's been really weak for them. Adley is one of the best catchers in the game. I know he's coming off of a wrist injury, which can be scary, but defensively, he's fantastic. At the plate, he's above average. I think this is a plus player for the Red Sox to bring in. He's a switch hitter. They had to pay a little bit of division tax, but he was one of the biggest names and best players moved to the deadline. Eric Miller is a good left-handed reliever, and even a guy like Carlos Gutierrez is in their farm system. I think he's ranked like 15th right now. Bunch of depth pieces, solid deadline overall. The team they made the big trade with, the Baltimore Orioles, brought in a lot of prospects. I'm not going to name everybody. Anthony Ianson, Endy Azokar, Kyson Witherspoon were the big ones brought in from the Adley trade. Michael Forrick came back from the Rays in the Tyler Wells trade. Jamnardo Reyes, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, came over in a trade. He's a good prospect. And then a bunch of other kind of filler-ish pieces. Honestly, just on the Adley Rutschman trade alone, I'm going to give the Orioles an A+. They got immense value for Adley on the market. Ianson is one of the 5 best pitching prospects in all of baseball. This is a future ace, one of the best arms in the minor leagues. I absolutely love him. Endy Azokar is one of the fastest risers in the minor leagues this year. There's some serious helium behind a 19-year-old hitting for power like he does who might be able to play center field. Kyson Witherspoon, former first-round pick last year, taken ahead of Ianson. The numbers haven't been great, but the stuff is still really good. And then even bringing back Michael Forrick, who's been great with the Rays. He seems like he's going to be a major league starter. And Jamnardo Reyes is kind of their lottery ticket. I thought it was a really good deadline for the Orioles. They could have done more, but just simply on the return for Adley alone, I absolutely love it, which is crazy. I'll give it an A+. Next up, we got the Philadelphia Phillies, who were kind of active. They attacked their weak spots. On the offensive side, they brought in Colby Thomas and Luis Arias. And then on the pitching side, we see Brooks Raley and Caleb Killian helping out that bullpen, which does need some help. Arias is obviously the big player that's moved here. He's going to go to second base, which then moves Stott to third. Alec Boehm's going to play first, and Bryce Harper is going back to the outfield. Phillies don't get to see that very often. I think it was a decent deadline for the Phillies. It wasn't one of the best, but it was by no means one of the worst. Luis Arias should definitely help out this team, even though they still don't really have a good right-handed bat besides Trey Turner. He played good defense at second base. He's having a really good season. Raley and Killian are solid arms to not be the main guys in that bullpen, but Raley helps out the lefties. Killian has a bunch of control. I gave the Phillies a B. I expected more, but it was still a good deadline for them. The San Francisco Giants were quite active as sellers. Ramon Marquez, Marty Gare, Miguel Mendez and Joniel Hernandez, Henry Lillane and Caden Kent, and then they also got Marcelo Meyer and Anthony Molina. Honestly, I think the Giants had a good deadline. As sellers, they did one of the best jobs this deadline. Marcelo Meyer was bad with the Red Sox, but I think it's worth a shot if you're the Giants. Anthony Molina throws heat out of the pen. Ramon Marquez is a fringe top 100 prospect, a guy who might even make it into those lists soon. The stuff's looked really good as a pitcher. Miguel Mendez also has good stuff. Joniel Hernandez is flashing in the top 20 in their org. Henry Lillane, a really solid prospect from the Yankees, and even Caden Kent, Jeff Kent's son. I love the moves that they made. I gave them a B+ because it's difficult for a seller to get into that A, and no dominant for sure top 100 guy just leaves him slightly out of it, but I think they did really well. For the San Diego Padres, they were buyers. They didn't do much selling. They brought in Robbie Ray, Casey Mize and Gage Workman. They needed starting pitching. They got starting pitching. Casey Mize has been great this year with the Tigers as long as he stays healthy. That is a fantastic pickup. Robbie Ray, good depth arm. I mean, they get to make their rotation so much better, and if guys come back from injuries and Michael King pitches more consistently, it's a solid rotation. I think the Padres did a lot to make their team better, especially with the bats starting to wake up. Padres are probably going to be a playoff team. This is not someone that I had a lot of faith in going into the year, but now with how the roster looks and how the rotation looks, it's way better. Gage Workman's even a great depth piece for the offense. I gave the Padres an A. AJ Preller is always aggressive. He did it again, and I honestly thought they were all good moves. Toronto Blue Jays, a little bit of buying, a little bit of selling, and honestly, I thought it was a solid deadline for them. The big piece, of course, is going to be Jose Soriano. They moved some prospects to get him, but they have a ton of control over Soriano. I think he's going to be great there. The stuff is really, really good, and the fact that they're able to get him out of the Angels, give him some real pitching development, I feel like we're going to see a great version of him. They also grabbed Spencer Arrighetti from the Houston Astros. Good starting pitching depth, something that they kind of were lacking. And then they brought in a ton of prospects, guys that I want to name. Dasan Hill, John Klein, Damori Pena. They brought in Bateman and Southacene in the Kevin Gausman trade, who are not going to be big names, but they will play at the major league level. And Josh Smith was a good pickup too from the Rangers as just another major league player. This very much felt like a retooling, not a rebuilding, and I love that from the Blue Jays. I'm giving them a B+. The Los Angeles Angels, they finally did it. They sold. Can you believe it? I kind of can't, but I also kind of love their deadline. I'm going to be really nice to the Angels, so Angels fans, get ready. This is a rare one. I love getting Arjun Namala. I thought that was great. I am a huge fan of him as a prospect. Truthfully, was surprised to see him go. Not because Jose Soriano wasn't worth it. I just didn't think the Blue Jays would trade him. Namala's really good. That's a future shortstop for the Angels. They brought in Jacob Cozart in the Joe Adell trade, which he's probably just going to be a major league catcher. They got Mo Ballesteros for Ryan Zefirjan. I love that trade. Mo Ballesteros rakes. Even Nacho Alvarez, major league baseball player. Like, I thought the Angels did really well. And call me crazy, but just on Mo Ballesteros and Arjun Namala alone, this is an A deadline for me. Well done. They should have been selling for years. Let's talk about the Detroit Tigers. Okay, so I think there's two things to mention here. One, they got good players back. I like Cash Mayfield. Jackson Wolf is all right. Zaire Hope's obviously good. River Ryan's going to be good. Brady Smith seems solid. It's just a weird spot where I wanted them to get more for Tarek Skubal, and they didn't, but they also still did get a decent bit, and we saw the market. It was kind of relatively fair-ish based on what the market was doing. I think Cash Mayfield for Casey Mize was a really nice pickup. I'm a big Cash Mayfield guy. Overall, because the Tigers didn't fully sell, but they also did. But then also, they're kind of still in it, and they could have actually been buyers and made the playoffs this year because the American League's so weak. I'm giving them a C+. It's more so just about that this Tigers front office drives me insane. Scott Harris does it again. I don't fully always love their deadlines, and I might be wrong, and this might be crazy. They got a nice chunk back for Skubal. It wasn't the most possible, and I thought that they lost a lot of leverage trading him early, which is partially for the C+, but yes, they got good players. I just expected more. So this is expectation versus reality why they're a C+. New York Yankees, pretty quiet, but I feel like the moves that they made were decent. I like Luis Garcia Jr. a lot. I think he's going to be awesome in Yankee Stadium, and they have control over him next year. And then with Elliot Ramos, they have control over him until 2030. Yes, they gave up some good prospects, but I like these moves a lot. Elliot Ramos loves going to opposite field as well, which is perfect for Yankee Stadium. Luis Garcia is going to hit a ton of home runs. I wanted the Yankees to do more, they didn't address catcher. I wanted them to get more pitching help, either on the starting rotation or bullpen side somewhere. It wasn't a necessity like catcher was, but overall, I give the Yankees a B-. I think this was a solid enough deadline. I like the acquisitions that they made, and they have control over these guys. Keeping in the American League, the Cleveland Guardians are up next. Joe Adell was brought in, Foster Griffin, Nathaniel Lowe, Craig Yoho, and Blake Perkins. This is the most Cleveland Guardians deadline ever. These are the most Cleveland Guardians players ever. I love taking a little bit of a flyer on Joe Adell. You didn't give up much to get him. In fact, you probably gave up nothing. It's more valuable to the Angels than it is you, the Guardians. And Joe Adell might get hot. The batted ball data is fantastic. He just has to make contact. He is positionless, and he is a right-handed DH, which kind of hurts his value, but it's perfect for what the Guardians need. Nathaniel Lowe, boom, left-handed hitting first baseman with some power. I think they're kind of not that interested in Kyle Manzardo right now as much as they previously were. Foster Griffin, yes, love this. Foster Griffin's really good, and I can't wait to see what the Guardians can kind of tap into him with him even more, because he's looked really good with the Nationals, and it's just, the stuff's not ridiculous, but he's pitching really well. And even Craig Yoho, that's that's such a Guardians reliever, and apparently they hired the guy who created PitchBot, and PitchBot loves Craig Yoho's changeup. It grades extremely well. That's a match made in heaven. Blake Perkins, backup outfielder. So good deadline, B-. Seattle Mariners, Jerry Dipoto, a little bit quiet. They went out and got Taylor Ward. Okay, I like that. And then they traded Luis Castillo and they brought in Sir Anthony Dominguez, Nolan Jones, and Boston Smith. I think overall it's not bad, but C+. The Mariners are just, they're driving me insane. I feel like they could have done more bullpen. I feel like they could have gotten more impact bats. Taylor Ward's good. The Mariners are missing any sort of juice. I call them like they're low T. They've got low testosterone. This team is incredibly underperforming. It seems like they've got no juice. I want to see more from them in these trades. It kind of feels like their season is just kind of like, yeah, okay, you're hanging around, C+. The Chicago Cubs were active. They brought in a lot of players. Clay Holmes and Tyrone Taylor from the New York Mets, Braxton Garrett from the Marlins, Ryan Zefferhan from the Angels, Kevin Gausman from the Blue Jays was the big name, and then they even got Aaron Savali a couple weeks ago. I love the addition of Clay Holmes. I think he's going to do incredible with that peak Cubs defense behind him. Ground ball pitcher, he's been great. Coming back from the injury, he's going to be fine. Tyrone Taylor's low-key been swinging the bat great. Incredible pickup for defense and also a bench bat. Kevin Gausman feels like a really good piece, and they gave up nothing, so that was a good move. Braxton Garrett, I don't particularly care about. Zefferhan, I like him out of the pen. He throws really hard. Same thing with Savali. It's like he's just a depth guy like Garrett, just in case. I can't give the Cubs an A, but it's about as close as it can be. So I'm going to give the Cubs a B+. I thought it was really good. Could have been better, but it was really good. Now for my favorite team, the New York Mets. They were the biggest sellers, arguably, this deadline. A lot of pieces out. Guys that they brought in, Jefferson Rojas, Sammy Stafora, Luke Gabrish, John Spikerman, Chase McDermott, Aiden Smith, Gary Gill-Hill, Emilian Pitre, Billy Amick, Brewer Nagbayani, like the list goes on and on. I named almost every single guy. The ones to take note of, Jefferson Rojas, top 100 prospect, might play shortstop, probably more so second base or third base from the Cubs system. Pretty good ball player. Sammy Stafora, big power, came from the Pirates org, grew up a Mets fan in the channel. Shout out Sammy. Pumped to have him on the New York Mets. This is so cool. Gary Gill-Hill, Aiden Smith, Emilian Pitre, they came over in the Freddie Peralta trade. Those guys are intriguing for a bunch of different reasons. Pitre, big contact guy. Aiden Smith, good power, really good athlete. And Gary Gill-Hill throws a ton of strikes, just needs to unlock that next level. That being said, I still don't think it was a particularly good deadline for the Mets. It also wasn't bad. C+. When you're sellers and you're selling so much, I wanted to see a little bit more. We got one top 100 guy. Hope they prove me wrong in the future with the development. There's a lot of projects here that the Mets traded for. Tampa Bay Rays are up. Not too many moves. They brought in Liam Hicks, Freddie Peralta, Tyler Wells, Jack Sawinski. Freddie Peralta going right into that rotation. I think he's going to be just fine. Get him out of New York. Seems like it was hurting his mental side of things, which then played into how he pitched. Liam Hicks was incredible with the Marlins this year. He has been mashing. He's been an RBI machine. He's going to go behind the dish, which he's not particularly good at, but if anyone's going to fix him, it would be the Rays, and he puts the ball in play a ton, which the Rays love. He's going to drive in a ton of runs in this lineup, just makes that lineup even deeper. Tyler Wells is a good bullpen arm that I bet you they eventually turn back into a starter. It's not the best deadline, but it's definitely good for a team that's competing for the AL East. The Rays don't buy heavy, but they bought the right guys. B-. Miami Marlins, a little bit of a soft sell, soft buy deadline. Braden Taylor, Jacob Kisting, Adrian Santana, Jonathan Long, Jace Beck, Victor Vodnik, Brandon Bedoya, I think, Hyung-Sung Lee, and Brian Sanchez. None of these names jump out to me. I'm sure Jonathan Long's going to be a good first baseman for the Marlins for the future. Braden Taylor, I think, will be a major league player, even though he's hit some hiccups in the minors with the Rays. Victor Vodnik's actually one of my favorite names that the Marlins brought in. He is going to be a significantly better reliever than he was in Colorado. The stuff's great. It's going to play even better, especially now going from Colorado to Miami. What a difference of pitching environments. He's going to a pitcher-friendly park from the least pitcher-friendly park. So I like the Victor Vodnik pickup. He'll eventually be flipped for someone down the line. We know it. We know what the Marlins are doing. Peter Bendix had the most Peter Bendix deadline. Get rid of guys you don't need. Bring in new guys who are eventually going to get traded for more guys. It's just, this is the Marlins machine now. It's going to be a C+ for me. I wish that they actually bought a little bit more as a team that's competing for a wild card spot, but I think they saw the writing on the wall. There's just better teams in front of them. It will still take a lot. Also, they're playing good. They didn't really get much worse with any of the trades they made either. Hicks was the big one, but I'm sure they'll fill in that gap, no problem. C+. The Washington Nationals. Sellers. They were sellers. They made one buy. Connolly early was a great sell to buy move. That's the best move that they made this deadline. And then they really just kind of took some volume shots at prospects. Josh Hartle, Will Dion, Kendeglis Virguez? I can't be the right way to say it. I like Giovanni Cruz from the Yankees. He throws absolute shed. Looks like he's going to be a good reliever. Same thing with Jack Siebert and Ben Grable. Look like good Yankees prospects. Jake Bird even, capable major league reliever. The Nationals definitely got worse at the major league league level right now for this year, which I don't love for a team, again, that is technically competing for a wild card spot. But when you can flip Curtis Mead for Connolly early, bring in some of the prospects that they did, I can see the vision for the Nationals. It was a soft sell, not a complete full sell. So for me, another B-. I feel like a lot of teams did well this deadline. Nationals are definitely one of them, even though I wish they bought. Now, one team that did not do well, the worst trade deadline, honestly, out of any team, the Cincinnati Reds. Yo, what are you doing, Cincinnati? You just let Brady Singer stay. You let JJ Bleday stay. You almost didn't sell off of anybody? What in the world is going on in Cincinnati? That organization is a complete and utter mess right now. They brought in Juan Brito and Alejandro Rivera. I don't want to talk about them much. This was a disturbing and embarrassing trade deadline by a team that has no playoff aspirations this year. This is the biggest F that there is. That was horrible. Disgusting. Bad. F. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, very active. They basically just got a completely new bullpen. And for a team that, again, is on the fringe, on the outside looking into the wild card, I love that they're trying to make sure that the games that they have leads in end up with the Pirates getting a win because their bullpen has been so bad at times this year. They brought in Luke Weaver from the Mets. Love it. He's been lights out. Kirby Yates from the Angels. Lake Backer from the Marlins. Camilo Doval from the Yankees. Even some pieces like Ron Baranaccio and Brandon Iser earlier before deadline day. I really like what the Pirates did. I'm not going to give it an A+ because still wasn't the fullest buy, but they made their bullpen so much better than it was. And I think that these are good arms. I still believe in Doval. It's crazy, but I still believe in him at some point. Luke Weaver's really good. He's going to be their closer. Kirby Yates is a good setup man. Backer's a good middle relief guy. I'm going to give the Pirates a B+. This is a super disappointing deadline to me. The Milwaukee Brewers. Antonio Senzatella, Dustin May, JoJo Romero, Bo Naylor, Colton Gordon. They had Lance McCullers. I think they DFA'd him. I don't love this, especially because you let the Dodgers get Tarek Skubal for a trade package that you could have beat. I felt like there was other arms out there that they could have gotten. I'm sure Dustin May is going to turn into a demon there, and JoJo Romero and Senzatella are going to be great out of the pen. But I don't like what the Brewers did. They needed another bat in this lineup, specifically at third base. It wasn't enough. This is not a buy. This is not a team that tells me they're actually actively wanting to win the World Series right now. And maybe that's not the way the organization needs to operate. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I hated the Brewers deadline right now, and especially seeing the Dodgers get Skubal when I thought you could have beaten the package and still been okay. I'm going to give the Brewers a D. I want the Brewers to win the World Series. They are the best chance at beating the Dodgers, and this doesn't mean that I don't think that they can. I still think they have the best chance, but the distance became bigger. You had a chance to honestly pass the Dodgers, I think, with the good deadline, and they didn't do that. D. Colorado Rockies. They just got a bunch of dudes. I like Landon Vitterick. He has really, really fun stuff. The numbers necessarily haven't been there. Connor Norby, let's see what he's got at the major league level. They're taking chances. They're trying to find toolsy guys here. We're not going to talk too much about their deadline because honestly, it wasn't impressive. I wish I saw them sell more, but also at the same time, I don't think anybody really wanted a lot of their players because the Rockies aren't particularly good. And I'm glad they didn't sell off of Hunter Goodman. That being said, I'm going to give this one a C-. There was pieces that I thought you'd move that you didn't, like Moniak or McCarthy, and none of the prospects brought in are dynamite guys. So yeah, it's fine. Another major W for sellers at the deadline has to be the St. Louis Cardinals. They got some of my favorite prospects in the entire trade deadline. The fact that they were able to get Alexander Frias and Josiah Ragsdale from the Milwaukee Brewers for two rental guys in Dustin May and JoJo Romero, chef's kiss. Alexander Frias is 18 years old and hit a ball 117 miles an hour. That might be a top 50 prospect in my rankings right now. He is disgusting. I can't believe the Cardinals got him in division for Dustin May and JoJo Romero. And then you throw on Josiah Ragsdale, who looks really good. This is another borderline top 100 prospect. Those two guys alone, A+ deadline for me. And then I remembered, oh yeah, you traded Lars Nootbaar and you brought in more prospects, Daniel Egan and Sandro Santana. I like Egan a lot. He's got good three pitches, and Santana's a fun piece as well. Egan's good. I like Egan a lot. And Sandro Santana from the left side with a wipeout slider at 21, maybe probably a reliever, but still high upside. I think the Cardinals crushed it, A+. And what's crazy is I don't think this makes them that much worse. They have someone who could fill in for Dustin May. They have a million pitchers, and Caleb Ferguson is their fill-in for JoJo Romero as a left-handed reliever. They sold and bought. They made their system better. Incredible job by Chaim Bloom. Houston Astros brought in 3 players, and truthfully, they brought in 1 player, and that's going to be Dalton Varsho. They also brought in Max Martin and Jaden Fielder. What are are we doing here, Astros? Pick a side. Sit or get off the fence. Dalton Varsho's better than what they've had. He's a good glove, but like at the plate, he's been okay. I think he'll probably play better in Houston because it's a very hitter-friendly park. But like, what? You're gonna like have these Jeremy Pena and Yordan Alvarez type seasons right now and not buy more? Again, I don't think the Astros are good. It seems like their front office doesn't either because they kind of did nothing at the deadline. This is super underwhelming. If you're an Astros fan, I totally get you feeling not great. I don't think it was bad, but I don't think it was good. C-. It's just underwhelming. Like, you technically improved, but at what cost? Like, it was just like, ugh, whatever. The Los Angeles Dodgers, A+. Put it simple, when you get Tarek Skubal, you're gonna get an A+. I don't particularly care about any of the other players, and you've heard me talk about the Tarek Skubal trade ad nauseum in my video on the channel. Big shout out to you guys, by the way. 100,000 views. What in the world? But like the rest of these guys, I don't particularly care. Like Seth Halverson, I love Seth Halverson. He's going to get big outs for the Dodgers down the stretch in the postseason. I know it. He throws 110 miles an hour, but you got Tarek Skubal. It's the best player moved at the deadline. It's not even close. A+, A+, A+. Kansas City Royals, tough for the Midwest. This deadline sucked. I think they brought in like one top 10 prospect to their system for a team that's not even close to making the playoffs. What in the world are the Royals doing? I know their roster doesn't have a lot of flexibility of guys that can't even be moved at the deadline. This was a disaster. An absolute F. Carlos Duran, Nolan Hoffman, Lucas Braun, Carter Holt, and Nate Pearson. Like, Duran might be a really nice reliever. Nate Pearson, we're still doing this? I don't know, man. I can't believe the Royals had this deadline. That's gonna, yeah, F. There's no thought about it. Minnesota Twins. A little bit of a soft buy. I kind of don't hate it. I definitely don't love it, but I don't hate it. They brought in Jeff Hoffman, who's going to be their closer. Instant upgrade there. They brought in AJ Minter. Instant upgrade in the bullpen. Tommy Nance, I like as well. Bullpen definitely got better. Dean Kramer's a totally like whatever. I don't particularly care either way. I think this is a C+ trade deadline. The Twins got better without really spending like too much. I'm surprised that they took Hoffman, especially because of the money that he's owed, and I'm assuming that the Blue Jays are going to kick in a little bit. I think we're still waiting on those details. That doesn't really change how I feel about the trade at all. I like it. They did get better. That's why I'm going to give them a C+, but I don't think that they did enough to be like, oh, the Twins, you're definitely going to make the playoffs. It's just the American League is so weak. I wish a team like Twins or even another team in their division like the White Sox really put their best foot forward and like took some home run swings. I don't think either of them did. So yeah, C+. And then for the White Sox, like I just mentioned, they brought in Brenton Doyle, Joey Bart, Huascar Brazoban, Luis Castillo, and Jose Urquidy. I like the Castillo trade. The money thing was kind of confusing to me. I was shocked that you sent basically almost anything despite paying Luis Castillo. I know the money doesn't become as crazy because you got rid of Sir Anthony Dominguez, but like I think Dominguez and Brazoban value-wise in terms of the bullpen, I might trust Dominguez more. Brazoban's been better. Castillo definitely helps with the rotation. They definitely need it. And Joey Bart is an upgrade at catcher right now. Good right-handed power bat. Brenton Doyle can help play the outfield, a little bit of platoon, play against the lefties. Urquidy, more starting pitching depth, but still for the White Sox, felt underwhelming for me. I'm going to give it a C+. I just don't think it was one of the best deadlines. Speaking of the worst deadlines, we're about to rip off like 3 of the worst. The Rangers get an F, obviously. Like, what are you doing? I know because you got sunned by the Astros and all of a sudden your playoff chances went down a lot over the last week. But like Adam Macko, Logan O'Hoppe, Chase Silseth, what is this? O'Hoppe has no value to me. Macko, I guess he'll be a 5. Silseth's a bullpen guy with no options. I don't know what the Rangers were doing. They didn't buy or sell. They were just like, hey, we're the Texas Rangers. F. I hate that. Make a decision. Do something. Either do something well or do something so poorly that you do it well. And they didn't do either of those. F, F, F. I get called a Rangers hater, but then you have a deadline like this and you have a team like you do. Like, I just don't care. Now, in terms of a buyer, this was a disgustingly bad deadline. The Braves get an F. And I think every Braves fan does agree with me. They kind of didn't do anything. The players that are going to make an impact, like Brent Suter, Tyler Mahle, Lane Thomas, Bailey Falter, are we serious? Tyler Uberstein, like I kind of like, but that's the deadline, in a deadline that had starting pitchers moving for really not expensive prices at all. You went Mahle and maybe Bailey Falter and Uberstein. Those are the guys to fill in this rotation that desperately needs guys to get miracle health back from injury, or the guys there to get much better. I don't get it. I really don't understand what the Braves deadline was. I think the Braves are a good team, but they didn't do anything to make their team particularly better right now. I think this was a horrible deadline, giving them an F. And then for the Athletics, they barely sold. I don't even really get the sells that they did. They get an F. Seth Johnson from the Phillies, Scott Blewett, Aiden Moffett, Ben Hansen, F. They just did nothing. This is a nothing deadline. You essentially made no trades. I like Colby Thomas's tools, and you trade him for another pitcher. Like, why are we trading for pitching? I don't get the A's. I really don't. That one made no sense to me. And then last but certainly not least, we have the Arizona Diamondbacks bringing in one guy, and that's going to be Lars Nootbaar. So for that, I have to give them a C+. I like Lars Nootbaar. You have a year of control over him as well next season. It's the same thing, though. Mike Hazen kind of just didn't do anything. And the Diamondbacks are playing really good baseball. I actually think they're in a spot where another first base bat would have been huge. I wanted to go see them get a first baseman, some more bullpen help, even another starting pitcher. I know they're having guys come back from injuries, but it was underwhelming. I do like Nootbaar. It's not that I think he's bad. I think he was overrated at one point, and then people started calling him overrated too much, so he became underrated. So now he's underrated, but he's not like a game changer. He's a good baseball player. So yeah, Diamondbacks, disappointing, C+, because they technically got better. I'd love to know what you guys think about the trade deadline down in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more baseball content. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you for the amazing support on the video as well as the live streams. And that's where I'll wrap up the video. Catch you guys on the next one. Bye.